Hi, this is Derek here at HorrorNerds.com to be giving you a review of possibly one of the greatest films I've ever seen, one of my most favorite films actually. It's called The Grudge. It was written and directed by famous Japanese director Takashi Shimizu. It's based off his popular movie back in Japan that is called Ju-on. Most people seem to know this when you watch The Grudge. In case you don't, Ju-on was kind of a cultural phenomenon in Japan, so much so that it actually was noticed here in America, and henceforth Hollywood sought out Takashi to produce the movie and do it in the way he wanted to do it here. I can remember working at the movie theater when it came out, which was around October of 2004, and I was an usher at the time and could recall every instance of the crowds just getting very riled up at the end with Kayako crawling down the stairs and how creepy it was. In fact, that image never really left me, and so much so that I actually have Kayako tattooed on me on my ribcage. So if that is any testimony to how much I love this film, then obviously you know where this review is going. Many people bash this film, however, saying it just didn't make sense, too many plot holes, things of that nature. But I think, after me living in Japan for as long as I have, I understand it perfectly, because it's based off the whole idea of the Onryo myth, which basically is about this idea of, a woman with long black hair and usually the funeral death shroud of white that they are buried in Japan, coming back to haunt or to get some kind of revenge or retribution for crimes committed in the real life of that particular person. That's in fact what The Grudge is all about, this idea that when somebody dies in a state of powerful rage or sorrow, this curse is born. It will follow you anywhere, anytime. It's kind of a creepy idea, something that is very much believed in Japan. It isn't something that was just made up for Hollywood's sake, and the idea that Onryo myth is very serious over there. So this movie, when you go into it knowing this, you can imagine the kind of effect it had on the psychosis of people that watched it in Japan as Ju-on. Here in America, maybe we didn't grab it as much, but it still has some creepy imagery, some very well authenticated ideas about Japanese mythology and culture, namely the idea that what you do wrong in this world will come back to you, and it kind of almost Shintoistic in its background. In any event, it has a powerful cast. Sarah Michelle Gellar, who is better known to us as Buffy. It also has Bill Pullman, who notably played the president in Independence Day, although he makes a quick and a very abrupt exit in this film right at the beginning. And also, in case you know a little bit about Japanese culture, it has a very famous actor named Ryo Ishibashi, who plays Detective Nakagawa in this film. And to have him be part of this is a huge testimony to how much he believed in Takashi Shimizu's ability to tell one very heck of a scary story. Having him on board, he was in other films such as Suicide Club, if you've seen that. It adds credibility and clout to what the film's trying to do. And what does it do? Well, in a nutshell, it scares the living crap out of you, as one by one, the Americans who move to Japan and take over the house that was owned once by the Sayaki family, who notably, the matriarch of which was Kayako, the villain or creature or ghost or Onryo, what have you, is the main character of the movie. And, they disappear through ghostly encounters with Kayako, with her son Toshio, and one by one they all start to vanish until we're left with Sarah Michelle Gellar, who at the end, of course, may or may not have met that fate. Of course, we find out right at the beginning of The Grudge Part 2 what happened to her. The sequels didn't really kind of capture, I think, what the first one did. In fact, the third one was so not depending on people receiving it well that it was a straight to DVD release. The second one, Takashi himself said that he wished he had more time to do what he wanted to with it. Ju-on itself, there's 5-6 different installments of it in Japan, so he tried to mishmash as much as he could into the first one. I felt he did a great job. I felt that there was enough scary moments in it to, leave you kind of thinking, and visually it's done well. It's something that American audience hadn't really seen, with the exception of its predecessor, The Ring, which we kind of got the idea of what Japanese scares are all about there. But this one works on one basic level. It is truly, truly horrifying to think that, this girl had died in a state of powerful rage, and just would affect you even if you had nothing to do with it. You're just randomly going to be assaulted. So that, I think, is kind of a core qualifier to real horror in a movie that is really one of the only things that can still scare us in this day and age. So, if you haven't seen it, it's been out for a while, check it out. You can probably get it at a DVD movie used bin for $2. Let me know what you think. This review is brought to you by HorrorNerds.com. Thanks.